In 2008, a company called Bourbon launched. It was a location-based check-in app where you could share where you were, make plans with friends, and post photos. Sound familiar? Probably not, because nobody used it. The app was cluttered, confusing, and trying to do everything. It was failing hard. But the founders noticed something weird. People weren't using the check-in feature. They weren't making plans, but they were posting photos like crazy. Specifically, photos with filters. So they made a radical decision. They deleted everything except the photo sharing, rebuilt the entire app around one feature, and renamed it. That app became Instagram. Facebook bought it for $1 billion just 2 years later. Meanwhile, there's another story. A company called Webvan raised $800 million to build an online grocery delivery service. They spent years building warehouses, buying trucks, hiring thousands of employees. They launched in 26 cities at once. 18 months later, bankrupt. They burned through all $800 million without ever proving anyone actually wanted it. Same era, same type of business. Completely opposite outcomes. Today I'm breaking down The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and why most startups fail before they even launch. Insight 1. Build less, learn more. Here's the trap most entrepreneurs fall into. They have a brilliant idea. They spend months building the perfect product. They keep adding features. They make it beautiful. Then they launch, and nobody cares. Eric Ries calls this building the wrong thing faster. You can have the best execution in the world, but if you're solving the wrong problem, you're screwed. That's what happened to Webvan. They built massive infrastructure before they even knew if people wanted grocery delivery. They assumed they knew what customers wanted. They were wrong. The lean startup flips this completely. Instead of spending years building, you build the smallest thing possible that lets you learn whether your idea works. This is called a minimum viable product, or MVP. And most people get this wrong. They think MVP means build a crappy version. Wrong. MVP means build the minimum thing necessary to start learning. Drew Houston, founder of Dropbox, had a genius MVP. File syncing is technically complicated. Building it would take months. So what did he do? He made a 3-minute video showing how the product would work. That's it. Just a demo video. He posted it on Hacker News. Overnight, his waiting list went from 5,000 people to 75,000 people. He proved people wanted it without writing a single line of code. That's an MVP. Not a product. A learning experiment. The goal isn't to build something perfect. The goal is to test your assumptions as fast as possible. Insight 2. Most of your ideas are wrong. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Your brilliant idea. It's probably wrong. Not because you're dumb, but because you're guessing. You think you know what customers want. You don't. Eric Ries worked at a startup called IMVU. They spent 6 months building this feature that would let their avatars work in existing chat platforms. They thought this was essential. They assumed nobody would use IMVU without it. They finally launched it. You know how many customers cared? 0. Literally nobody used it. 6 months of work. Completely wasted. That's when Eric realized every startup is a collection of assumptions. And most of those assumptions are wrong. The lean startup method says, identify your riskiest assumption and test it immediately. For a restaurant, your riskiest assumption isn't, can we cook food? It's, will people actually come here? For a SaaS product, it's not, can we build the software? It's, will people pay for this? Most entrepreneurs spend time on easy stuff and avoid testing the scary assumptions until it's too late. Here's how you fix this. Write down every assumption your business depends on, then rank them by risk. Which assumption, if wrong, would kill your business? Test that one first. Zappos is the perfect example. Tony C. wanted to sell shoes online. His riskiest assumption, people will buy shoes without trying them on. He didn't build a warehouse. He didn't buy inventory. He took photos of shoes at local shoe stores, posted them online. When someone bought a pair, he'd go to the store, buy them, and ship them himself. Terrible business model, but brilliant MVP, because it tested the only thing that mattered. Will people buy shoes online? They did. So then he built the real business. Insight 3. Metrics that actually matter. Most startups are lying to themselves with their metrics. They track things like total users, page views, downloads. Eric Ries calls these vanity metrics. They make you feel good but tell you nothing useful. Your app has 100,000 downloads. Sounds great. But how many people actually use it? How many come back the next day? How many would pay for it? Those numbers tell the real story, and they're usually terrible. The lean startup focuses on actionable metrics. Metrics that actually change how you make decisions. Don't track total users. Track active users. Don't track page views. Track engagement rate. Don't track downloads. Track retention. Even better, use cohort analysis. Track groups of users who signed up at the same time and see how their behavior changes. If your week 1 cohort has 20% retention and your week 10 cohort has 25% retention, you're improving. But if all your cohorts have 5% retention, you don't have a marketing problem. You have a product problem. Here's the key. Vanity metrics let you lie to yourself. Actionable metrics force you to face reality. Insight 4. Pivot or die. Here's what separates successful startups from failed ones. Knowing when to pivot. A pivot isn't giving up. A pivot is structured course correction based on what you learned. Instagram pivoted from bourbon. Twitter pivoted from a podcasting platform. YouTube was originally a video dating site. Slack was a gaming company. Every successful startup has pivoted at least once. But here's the problem. Most founders pivot too late. They ignore the data. They keep believing in their original vision, even when customers are screaming that it's wrong. Eric Ries says you should have regular pivot or persevere meetings. Look at your metrics. Look at customer feedback. Ask honestly, is this working? If your growth is flat for months, that's not bad luck. That's the market telling you something's wrong. If customers keep asking for something you don't offer, that's not a distraction. That's an opportunity. If people sign up but never come back, you don't need better marketing. You need a better product. The worst thing you can do is keep building features for a product nobody wants. The lean startup solves this with the build, measure, learn loop. Build something small. Measure how people react. Learn from the data. Then decide, pivot or persevere. Insight 5. Speed is everything. In traditional business, you spend months writing a business plan, doing market research, building financial projections. In lean startup, you spend that time talking to customers and building MVPs. Because here's the thing, your business plan is fiction. It's a guess about the future, and it's probably wrong. Speed is your competitive advantage, not because you need to launch fast, but because you need to learn fast. The faster you test your assumptions, the faster you find out what's wrong, the faster you fix it, the higher your chance of success. That's why Eric Ries emphasizes validated learning. Every experiment you run should teach you something concrete about your business. If you're not learning, you're wasting time. You have limited runway, limited cash, limited time before you run out of money. The question isn't, how do we build the perfect product? The question is, how do we learn the most before we run out of runway? Most startups die not because they build the wrong thing. They die because they run out of money before they figure out the right thing. Speed gives you more shots on goal. So here's what the lean startup is teaching you. Stop building everything and start learning something. Most of your assumptions are wrong, test them fast. Stop tracking vanity metrics. Know when to pivot before it's too late. And speed isn't about launching fast, it's about learning fast. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being scientific. Treat your startup like an experiment. Test your hypotheses. Follow the data. If this video helped you, subscribe for more breakdowns. And if you're building something, go test your riskiest assumption today. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now.